Good morning, good evening. How is everybody? Thank you for joining us today. We're happy to have you with us. I appreciate you taking some time to see what's going on in the ZENcast live world. It's already halfway through January. Go figure. This time goes by, doesn't it? So I appreciate everybody here. We are ZENcast live and we meet, well, we're going to be covering ZCM 2020 Update 3 upgrade today. Simplified version, basics. Every system is unique, but hopefully you can glean from this some of the things that need to be done. The next ZENcast we're going to have on February 7th is about ZCM bundle and policy cleanup. Okay, finding those older versions and cleaning them up so you free up space as well. But today's ZENcast Live is for ZenWorks admins or anybody in the ZenWorks community or even beyond that is interested in ZenWorks. Understanding how it works, what it does. You could throw out questions here, whether it pertains to the topic or not. We meet the first and third Tuesday at 9 o'clock Mountain Time, North America. And we appreciate you being here. You can join us at any time. We do have a whole list of things to view as far as the past ZenCasts and other products. If we go down to the IM and G, you can see we have Unified Endpoint Management. These are all of our ZenCasts here. If they pertain to a different product, like ZenWorks only, then we'll put it in ZenWorks. This particular one will go into the ZenWorks and ZenCast. But we have a bunch of different ones here, as well as if you open this playlist for ZenWorks, you'd get all the other ones. So we kind of combine them and make it convenient for you to find. A little bit of house cleaning. Do subscribe to the YouTube channel and you'll be notified before we go online or as we go online so that you can log in, you can chat, you can give comments and likes. If you're watching this recording, please notice that in the posted video description, you'll find downloads and references to the links, and it'll be helpful for you to as you watch along. Let's do a little bit of recap. ZSD getting started. Last time we talked a little bit about ZenWorks Service Desk getting started. It was like who's placing the call, what do they need, and why, right? What is it on? Is it on a printer? Is it on a service? Those types of things. And why do they need this? And how to do it? Do they need a manager approval for getting a laptop? Those type of things, and other details, of course. So that was just kind of a quick start getting started. If you have ZCM Suite, you own, or even ZCM, you own a part of ZenWorks Service Desk Standard at minimum. So you have at minimum 2 licenses. So why not kick the tires, check it out, and see what's going on with Service Desk for a ticketing solution that you may already own, or even just a knowledge base solution for putting TIDs in. Some customers only use it for knowledge base. Which is very convenient for their users, right? Because they own it. They don't have to get another knowledge-based solution. But today's agenda, we're going to be covering ZCM 2020 Update 3. Basically, the upgrade, we're going to run through the upgrade. There are things like the lookbook and documentation and getting started docs out there. I have links in this particular PDF. And let me go ahead and throw that in the chat one more time in case you didn't get it. This is the presentation for today, so you could download that and get the links to this particular presentation. All right, we're going to actually kick off doing this real quick, and then I'll run through some of these slides as we go because there is some wait time. I did cut down the video. This is a full live video of everything I went through, no cuts. I did condense some of the parts to smaller time segments. I sped up the time segments so it would go faster because some of the areas it does that. But we're going to basically start with the install and talk about it as we go. We're logging into the 9443, and we could see here we have an internal database. We have internal certificate. So it's a very basic run of ZenWorks configuration management. There are things in this particular zone. I use it for demos, but we're upgrading. You can see it's 2020 Update 2. Now, one thing I like to do, especially for this one, is do the online updates. Get those out of the way. We don't need any updates at this time, but go out to online updates and see if there are any that you need to apply. And we're just going to look at our zone real quick, looking at 2020 update 2. We could see here that we are, if we look at our diagnostics again, we can scroll up, we could see that we're on a Postgres database on the same machine, on the same appliance that we have the ZCM zone on. We only have one primary server. Again, every one is unique. If we look at our database and we go to our database and check out some commands, we can go to checking your Zen server roles, which is really important. You want to do the one with the database if you have an internal database. Do that one first, and then you could do a query. There's a TID out there which is listed both in this presentation as well as the TID out here. So we're going to do select. You could see we have the database or the master primary. Some of the other roles that we have were certificate authority and so forth. So you want to make sure that you start off with, if you have an internal database, with the first server that has the internal database. Okay, if we go to configuration, you can see here that we're on 2020 update 2. We go to system updates. This is where we really get started. Since we have the online updates complete, I've pre-downloaded to save some time. It's awaiting configuration. So I reached out, downloaded, and it's awaiting configuration at this time. Okay. We could see that our certificates, we want to check our certificates to see if they're current or if they're in the process of doing a cert update or those types of things, because you want to make sure that's complete before you actually do the upgrade, just for safety purposes. You don't want any conflicting issues. We're also going to check patch management. We do have patch management installed and active on this particular zone, and we are going to check to see when the last download was. Perfect. It was the day I was doing this, and we can see that there are no patch updates being done at this time. All right. Again, we don't want any conflicts of downloading patches or those types of things. So in this case, we're going to see that we're going to authorize this update or configure this update. A new mechanism coming in is now configuring the update. All right, and you'll see this happen here. Sorry, let's go to configure update. And notice there'll be a new tab that opens up. Now, interestingly enough, oh, there it goes. Good. Okay, so we'll log in. Yeah, interestingly enough, this has happened on 2 of mine where I had to log back in because it didn't go to it directly, and I don't know if it's unique to my system or not, but we're going to log in to ZCC again, and we'll go back over to system updates and configuration, and we'll try that one more time, see if it redirects properly. And so it tells you it's going to open a new update, and there it is. Okay, and it could be my DNS, it could be a couple of things on my system that why we had to log back in. But this is where launching the management zone, run with the embedded database, ensure the primary server database is updated. So make sure the database is updated if you have an external database. Also, enhanced security. It talks about the 7443 port and 443. So we're securing ZCC more now. And then it talks about memory recalibration. So some of that's going to happen as well. So as we go forward, we'll go to the ZenWorks Control Center port. We're just going to leave the default of 7443. All right. This is to get into ZCC. All right. So we're going to hit finish. Now that we've configured that, we're going to go back to the Control Center configuration system updates. And then we could deploy to devices. And what is that first deployment to? The first primary. And if it's the primary, if you have a primary that has a database, we want to deploy it to that particular primary first. Okay, so we are ready to deploy. Let's go ahead and deploy this particular update. And we can see the details here for update 3, some of the prerequisites and links in there. We're going to leave the default reboot behavior. Okay, you can make some selections depending on what you're doing and which servers or workstations you're doing it on. We're going to search for our primary server, which DA Zone P1. We'll go ahead and select that guy. We'll hit next. Now you could do date specific, but being that this is a primary server, you probably have downtime, so you probably want to do it now. We'll go ahead and do it now. And then you can hit finish when you see the summary. Now remember, it will say, notice the 7444 is a system update. Copy that particular link because you could watch the system update as it moves along. So we'll hit OK here. We're going to go up to our system update 7444. Now you can see here that the ZenWorks update U3, it did take a little bit of time for it to actually get everything processed and get started, just so you know. There's about 5 minutes in there for my particular zone. And then it sat here for a little bit. So we're kind of waiting to see the system status change on this particular machine. So some of the details there is you're going to have now, of course, this is the 744 system update SU status. This is the status of the system update deployments. So if you had a second primary server, once you deployed to that, it would show up in the list. So as you start doing your satellites, they would show up in the list. So you could see a status of all of them. So sometimes when you start with your primary, you do the first one first. Then you could do multiple primaries after that, or you could do multiple satellites after all your primaries are done. So all of those would show up in this list to be able to monitor this system update. And we'll watch this along the way. We're kind of waiting here to see when this will, it's doing its background things. You know, package update isn't started yet, but it's doing all the background processes, getting things set up to actually deploy this to DA Zone P1. Okay. Again, there's some docs and TIDs out there, documentation, getting started docs. Oh, let's see. Oh, I'm probably just going over to check things to see if it's still. This is a good sign. ZCC now I can't get to. This is a good sign because I think I had two open. This is our, you will be able to see your 9443. This is your appliance administration. Okay. That's configuration. We'll close that out. And you can see it's updating packages now on this DA Zone P1. So it's kicked it off. The ZCC not being able to go to the normal ZCC is good because it's now going to go be ported over to 7443 as we noted. Okay. All right. So there's also a lookbook out there. A lookbook. If you're wondering about, and this I speeded up. This took about 20 minutes or so doing my updating packages. I'm going to go over to, I'm going to bring this up here. So let me go like this. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Sorry. Hang on. I wanted to grab this guy. Boy, I'm having a hard time here. There we go. So we can watch while we're going through these. So this is the lookbook. If you're wondering how do I determine what my version is, how and why to upgrade to update 3, what the comparison chart for features, you can go to this page and find a lot of different links, documentations, how to find your ZenWorks version, how to upgrade from 2017 to 2020 and 2020 to update 3, what are the processes and so forth. So official documentation out here on these links. All right. So, and other things as well, competitive strengths and those types of things. All right. Looks like we're getting some more activity over here. We're going to go back and put in 7443 for ZCC. And it's still refreshing, which means it hasn't found it yet. So our status, no, it's 98% still. And it sat here for a little bit too. I was quite miffed at it moving, but just be patient with it. Okay. So that's the lookbook. Now remember, if you don't know, there's a next generation patching. There's a whole video series out there. So if you go to the U3 page for the documentation, and you go to patch management, you can see a whole series of introduction enhancements available, enhanced patch platform, native channel patches. So it has a 5-part series of the next generation patch management video series that is introduced in update 3. So that's probably going to be very helpful for you to review and be able to see. You can see that they're brand new. Darren just finished those, so just before Christmas. All right. The other thing you might want to go to is the discussion board. All right. Going to patch management, understanding what's going on when you upgrade to update 3, and discussions about update 3. This is all in the patch management site, obviously. That didn't come up. Oh, it looks like ZCC. Let's go break away and go back to here. We can get into our ZCC. Let's log in, see what's going on. And you can see it's 7443 up at the top, if you can see that. So here it says your zone is being upgraded. D zone P1 is currently in this process. So be aware if you have multiples happening, it'll give you those details. If you had satellites or other primaries, it would be in that list. You can see we don't have any satellites here. All right. If we go to our system updates though, you can see that we are pending still on our first install, and we're still at 98% complete. And that matches up with the system status, 98%. Okay. So the system status is a running total, but your ZCC, when you can get back into it, all those services are up. You can then go to the ZCC. Thanks, Valerie. Is there any logs to follow the updating packages you use to be able to tail the update logs? Yes, I have that in my recording here, and you can do that. So, and I have that actually. Thanks for that question. I think I actually have it in here. Here it is here. Wait for completion to reboot. Here's your VAR-op Novell ZenWorks system update with 2020. This 20 is 2020. And then update 303 is update 3. And the actual full GUID of that. And then the system update log. So you can actually tail that. And I'll show you that near the end of this particular video. But thank you for that question. That's a great question, because you want to see if there's action going on, right? So what is that? Well, if you just do a tail F, you can actually watch it go through each of those steps in commands. So perfect question. Again, let's look at the versions of database. So make sure your database is updated. Make sure your master primary OS or appliance, they have all. Does it have an internal database? Is that supported in update 3? Those types of things, right? Making sure that they're all sound. Excuse me. Primaries, do all of those first. Typically, you'll have downtime. Most customers will do them all in a particular grouping of time, right? Doing your first primary first, and then you'll do the rest of the primaries, wait for those to complete. Once those are complete, you go on to your satellites. Now, it's important to make sure that you know that this particular system update status may show 100% and complete, but that doesn't mean the primary is complete, because it's going to rebuild the packages, the agent packages. So you want to make sure that your first primary and all of your primaries as they're moving through are complete in ZCC. And you'll see that in the video here too. We'll review that as soon as it gets complete here. You get the appliances done. It's typically it's a primary. Making sure the appliances are complete, and then and I have it in the list because it may be an appliance primary and agents. Then you move on to your agents. They don't have to be all done at once. They don't have to be done anytime soon. You could schedule those just fine. All right, throughout the week, month, whatever. If you have some that are legacy and you can't update them because you're running on, XP or something, obviously the older agents will still be managed through update 3. Some of the considerations is your DMZ, if it's an appliance, database, make sure the database is updated and supported, your user sources, your certificates, and expirations. So make sure your expirations aren't close to where you'll start having a conflict. If something happens, if I had a certificate expiring end of this month and I'm doing my upgrades now and I have a problem with my upgrade, I don't want a conflict with the certs. So I want to make sure I don't want to have that where I'm calling support for a particular issue and I can't do my certificate upgrade. All right, make sense? All right. So yeah, we're still at 98% here, and I'm just going between the two different tabs to just kind of show you that sometimes just be patient and see what's going on. Give it a minute or quite a few minutes. Again, this is a small zone. I do use it for demo, so it is live, but this whole section took about an hour and 15-20 minutes. Okay. After I downloaded it to the primary. All right. Some conditional things is the primary OS and appliance, satellites and agents. Obviously, if they're out of support, this isn't an appliance upgrade. So you're not going to online updates in the appliance to upgrade 3, right? You're doing it through ZCC. This is a ZCM system upgrade, not an appliance upgrade at all. You don't have to do any side-by-side upgrades or those types of things. Okay, it's just a system upgrade. In preparing for online updates, you might want to put all the security patches down before you start. So on the appliance, your quarterly maintenance, they come out in a regular cadence, the security updates. So for the appliance, so you would basically, I think it's November, March, May, and September, something like that. But it's a regular cadence to get your security update. So you should have a quarterly maintenance downtime to do that. But it's not required for the upgrade 3, though that being said, it's always good to keep those updated. So I updated mine prior to, okay? I applied the online updates and then I rebooted. Preparing for ZCM Update 3 upgrade for the system, ZCC updates. You're going to updates there. You're going to download the 2020 Update 3. You're going to register and apply online updates while it's downloading because it does take a little while to download. Complete that up. Remember, if your online updates ask for a reboot, don't reboot until your download is complete, right? So that's one thing about if you're doing two things at once that may require a reboot. Patching process, is it currently in a patching process? Do you currently have it patching? You want to make sure that it doesn't have that patching process downloads from the repository or patching out. You want to make sure that those are not happening so that you have a good solid quiet system so you don't get any interruptions. And again, as I mentioned a couple of times, certificate expirations and updates. Make sure it's not doing a certificate update. As a matter of fact, it will prompt you if you have a certificate update, even going to agents, it'll prompt you and say, hey, this is already in process. Okay. Don't be alarmed. There's a TID out there that talks about that, and we'll get to that in a later slide. But again, the certificate expirations, check those. Make sure you know when they're expiring. And then find the first master primary. Okay, and you could use that TID for those that query to be able to find that. Upgrading, when you actually do the upgrade, you're going to do a configure update, which talks about your new ZCC security. You're going to authorize the update, which is a permission in ZCC. You're going to deploy the update to the first primary, and the first thing it does is a database schema update. All right. So that'll happen first, and then it'll actually upgrade the system, the ZenWorks system. All right, so I'm going to show you the tail-F. Because it's been at 98 for a while now, so I'm kind of wondering what the heck's going on, right? So I'm going to go full screen. There we go. This is a tail. Thanks, Valerie, for shouting that out. Now I just went into the appliance administration console and opened up terminal. And of course you have to have SSH enabled and running in order to do that. It'll prompt you if it doesn't. I'll tell you. And remember the tab. Tab is your friend, so you don't have to type in all the numbers. And we're going to go to systemupdate.log. Now we can see here that there's an exit code 0, which is good. If we look up a little bit farther, we can see finished, which is good. Okay. So I'm wondering here why, if it says finished, why is it still sitting at 98%? It has to be doing something. At this point, let's see what I do. I'm scrolling up to check out a few things. It'll tell you percentages in here as well. So this log is very valuable to watch. All right, so again, still at 98%. I did this last week, so I can't remember what I did to prompt it, but we're going to watch and I'll remember as we go along. Okay, so you can see the percentage, 100% there. So that's a good sign. All right, and you can see the finish 3 lines below it. All right, so updating device status through Zeus, which is good. So I keep checking here, just being patient. It still says 98%. We'll see what it goes to. Again, watching the upgrade process through 7444. System update status / SU status. This is a good link to remember. I always get them backwards. I always try to do SU status system update, but it's system update / SU status. And then of course 7443 is your new ZCC. And make sure it's done rebuilding the deployment packages. Okay. Concluding for ZCM U3 upgrade, first primary and database, you're going to obviously reboot, log into 7443, verify the connected systems. If you have Service Desk connected to it or ZenWorks reporting server or AAF, that'll be obvious because you won't be able to log in if it's required. DNS and email and so forth. So see, what am I doing now? Checking my pending again, still seeing if it's modified at all. I think what I did is I refreshed my ZCC because I did have a complete in the log. and I think it's just sitting here complete right now, and I haven't refreshed or logged out and logged back in for the system update SU status. So I think that's what I end up doing. Again, we, as mentioned, deploy to primary servers after you've done your first primary and the database. You deploy to primary servers to completion, then to satellite servers to completion, and then manage devices as needed. Okay. Oh, I put together some recent ZCM Update 3 TIDs that will help you if you're having a particular issue or have some questions about freeing up disk space, right? Cleanup. You can click this link. You could see this particular TID and what you can go about, how you can go about freeing up disk space for old superseded updates, right? Being able to, you may have update 2, update 1. I typically would leave 1 behind. So if I'm going from update 2 to update 3, I'll leave 2 behind but clean out everything prior to that. If you're going from update 1 to update 3, again, cleaning out whatever the past ones are. I leave one behind. I'm doing something here. Let's see what I'm doing. Oh, yeah, it's 98 cents percent complete. So this may have been completed faster than an hour and 10 minutes, but I'm just trying to be patient and watching it and not intervening with any system activity while it's going through its details of upgrade. Okay, so this is the info and fixes. So the update 3 information and all the fixes listed. So here's a GUID for update 3, and you can see here the different versions, and then the fixes. And these are maybe defects or whatever in update 2 or what they've enhanced it with in update 3. So this is the full list of those. And I think at the bottom, additional fixes for 3A. Okay. If you have air gap and you need the air gap collector, you have this particular TID. If you're looking to see what patches are supported for and these are all recent within the last couple months when U3 was released. So you can see what patches are supported. All right. Recommended antivirus exclusions. You know that antivirus is set, and you can use that in ZCM. So you can check out those. What am I doing over here? Still show pending. I think I'm going to run a database query on the version. I can't remember. All right. Then this is the upper section here is more about what to help you get more information about U3. The bottom ones are recent issues that have come up from customers. They may not pertain to you at all. All right. The update error due to remint activity. I mentioned to you that if you're doing a remint, it'll prompt you. This is what it'll prompt you with. Okay. So it's going to let you know what to do, what's the cause, and how to resolve that. All right. But if you have other things, U3agent.net fix it fails on primary parse exception. You see in the log that it's a parse exception. And yum service configure action, those types of things. What's going on here? Oh, I'm going to refresh. That's what I did. I refreshed the DA zone P1 in ZCC, and boom, it was successful. I probably could have done that 10 minutes ago, but I wanted to see if it would progress normally. It still shows 98% complete, but if I do a check again, it still shows pending. Now it's rebuilding deployment packages. That's why it's still pending. So notice the SU system status was it's at update 3, this primary, but it's still pending the system updates because it's rebuilding the packages. So again, don't want to reboot, and you shouldn't need to reboot unless you're prompted to. But in this case, it's rebuilding the packages. The SU system update will. So what was happening? Why there's a delay is it was waiting for its refresh time to be able to say, okay, I'm done with the 98%. I'm 100% complete. And if we look at the system update status, we can see that it is successful. It says successful here, meaning the update's successful, but it still has background stuff to do. And I kind of stress that to make sure that you don't go too soon and you think you might want to reboot or something. It might still be rebuilding packages. So we're going to wait until this actually says, the ZCC says successful. All right. Let's go on over to our. So here's some ZenWorks links if you download them for what's new, the README, updating. Now, if we look, what I'm doing over on the ZCC now is I was looking at the download ZenWorks tools because it's updating these packages in the ZenWorks agent. Okay. Notice a new look and feel also. So there's different, there's agent packages, inventory only packages, and certificate updates. All right. I'm going to pin the DA zone P1. We still show pending. Let's go see how far along on the rebuilding the packages. It's 8 of 13. Okay. So it's almost done. So we should see this complete any moment now. And we show successful. Okay, update completed now. So I did initiate a refresh on the primary server once I knew it was exited. The update was complete, finished, and exited, just to speed the process up, but it would have gone okay eventually once that automatic refresh was time happened. If we look at the ZenWorks agents, they should all be the latest date. They don't have the date on them, but if you could download them at this point. All right, you have the inventory only, and then of course your certificate updates. There aren't any. This is a good way to see if there's any certificate updates going out as well. If there's, because within that time frame of updating that certificate, you'll have certificates in there. All right. Now you can deploy to devices. And again, I have a small, so I'm just going to say I just want to deploy. Let's see, you can pick if I wanted to. I can go to all workstations. If I had other servers, I may want to do them. That one's complete. But if we went to the workstations, we could then just go ahead and select the workstations we need to select. Or you can basically back out. And we have all, I think I was looking for a particular one I was going to do. Not all of these are, some of these are dummy devices. But I don't think I had that one online, so I'm looking for it at this point. No, didn't see it. Yeah. Okay. I'm searching for it here. Or you could just do to all of them, which I think was my next thought, because it's a small zone. They'll just trickle out as needed. You could just deploy them to all devices. And we're going to do all system devices in the management zone. And again, this would be something that you could do in a lab or a very small environment, or if you know that there aren't too many that are going to be impacted. But we could see that we have that new stage now. And as soon as it refreshes, you'll see 56 devices in here. I think it's 56. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So that is pretty close to the end, yeah. So that's an update 3. Just a few things. I hope you're able to get some details on that. And here's some things that might be advantageous to you to understand what to do next. We're going to check the zone for the device version. And we're looking at all the devices now. I didn't specify just the primary. But there's our DA zone P1. If we scroll over, we can see that we're on 2020 update 3, and the rest are on 2020 update 2, which should be upgraded as they check in, and they'll automatically be updated through the ZCC because we put everybody in the zone now to be updated. So that is the ZenWorks Update 3. I know it's very simplified. I know it's may not be set to your environment, but your lab may be close to your lab more so than your production environment. But just be aware of some of those things that we walk through, and making sure certain things are in place before you start, and then as you move forward, realizing what to look for, right? The 7444, the tail, as Valerie had mentioned, so you can watch the sequence and so forth. Okay? So I hope that was helpful. Let's see what's going on next. Now we have our schedule. If there's questions, go ahead and put them out in the community here, out in the chat. I'll be happy to answer them best I can. And also go to the ZCM community, ask questions out there, and we monitor that. Support and developers and the PMs monitor this area. So if you have something particular, go to that particular area, the community, and go to discussions and start up a discussion chat. Okay. No discussions in there. All right. Not seeing any other questions coming through. Today we're doing obviously update 3. Next time we're going to identify old bundles and policies, and we're going to do a little cleanup so that you can free up space that way. It's amazing how little bits and pieces can add up to a lot. Future customer requests of ZENcast are these in the list here. You can always go to the schedule out on the community site to see what's coming up. January, February. If you have one you'd like to put in, shout it out in chat. Send an email at zen@microfocus.com. Be happy to add that to our list and get that going first. I normally take all the customer requests first, and then if I don't have any recent customer requests, I'll go ahead and go through other things that support has seen or SEs have seen out in the field. All right. We are doing a deep dive. This particular deep dive that's mentioned in the future ZENcast may be that webinar we're talking about, because Darren has a choice now. If you weren't certain about that, you can always sign up on the webinar. I'll put it again in chat. This will be a monthly webinar. I don't know which one is coming first. I believe U3 is coming first, but it's not. I don't know how big of a deep dive it is, because I know there's patch, there's antivirus, there's the ZCC security. Got to worry about the DMZ now and getting things opened up. So being able to, in the content distribution on demand. So they're going to go into each of those throughout the year, but I don't know which one's first. Okay. So as soon as I know what the next one after February is, I'll post it. If I know what the webinar is coming up, it's next week. I know it's on U3. I don't know the details and how in depth it's going. I'll be sure to let you know. I'll keep track of that. If you want to see the past ones as well, and you wanted to see a particular topic, I listed all my ZENcasts here so you don't have to go hunting through YouTube to try and find it. You can obviously just do a Control F and search on, let's say, imaging, and you'll go right down to some of the imaging that we've done. You know, it makes it real easy for you to find that without having to dig through the YouTube channel. All right. I mean, you can do that as well. Okay. Current versions, we're on update 3. I did see that 10.14 is out there for the FTF server to update your cumulative updates. Imaging updates, July 2022. I know they're working on another one. It's soon to be released. I didn't hear when. ZRS version 7.8. 8.11 should be released in July, I believe. I think it's going to be 8.11. And then ZSD 8.3.1 is out currently, and 8.4 will be released second quarter this year. And we have Hybrid Workspaces 22.9. There'll be a 23.1 coming out next month. Okay, and that's these here. Okay, those are the future releases. There will be a 2020 update 4, and the details will be announced probably next time. I have a meeting to see what those are, so I can get you that information. Just a few other communities, videos, and infos on what's going on. Just you can go browse through these when you download this particular PDF. Also, some cool solutions and TIDs that may be out there that may be applicable to your environment. So you're able to easily browse through. These are the most current ones, so I try and keep the current ones out there so you're able to easily find them. And then in the community, make sure you get out there in the community's ideas. We appreciate your updates to that. It helps us enhance our products for you, know what you need in your product so that we can work on getting that to you. The other live casts are listed here with links, so you're able to do that. We have included the ZenWorks one here, which is a go-to webinar as well. So you could see it's the first, second, third, and fourth Thursdays. So if your Thursdays are open, you have one of these, you can jump on in. Okay. As you know, October we had a Technical Insights Conference, and the reason why I list these with links is because you can go and reference them, reference the presentations. Okay. Technical Insights in October, Bright Talk in November about hybrid workspaces. TTP conference just happened last month. There's another one coming, TTP EMEA in Weiden, Germany in February, March, and then TTP USA in July. Okay, dates are not set on that particular one. So you can kind of forecast and see what's going on, and you could go into, if you're not able to actually go to the conference, you can reference those on the TTP website or the websites that we have links to. Any other questions? I appreciate everybody being here. The next topic again will be ZCM bundle and policy cleanup. I hope everybody stays safe. I'm glad your year is going off well. I hope if you need anything, feel free to email me at either paul.pedron@microfocus.com or the zen@microfocus.com. You'll get all three of us PMs in that. We're happy to help you and assist you and maybe advise you which way to turn if you're having an issue or you have a question or need some answers. All right. I appreciate everybody being here and enjoy the rest of your day and week, and we'll see you next time.